Bitcoin is on one. We almost tagged 94,000. We're up 10,200 cuck bucks in just 40 hours. And over $1 billion of leverage just got forcefully yeeted into outer space. And you know you're in a bull market when every pullback gets met with a green hammer candle uppercut straight to the jaw of every bear. Still praying to the ghost of Janet Yellen. But hold on, because today's show is massive. There's an article going around saying JP Morgan, Vanguard, and Bank of America absorbed Bitcoin, captured Bitcoin in 216 hours. No, absolutely not. Bitcoin captured them. They bent the knee. They showed up with flowers and said, may we please have an allocation? Please, dear sir. We're breaking it down, but first, Trump just dropped a bomb on the Fed. Metaphorically, of course, but we've got emergency liquidity injections, a 90% rate cut probability, and Powell ready to unleash the monetary bazooka. Trump isn't just teasing the next Fed chair either. He's doubling down on abolishing the income tax. That's right, so get your diapers ready. We have a massive show today.
Down 86%, thank you. And mortgage rates, despite the fact that we have an incompetent chairman of the Fed, a real dope, who should reduce rates. I saw even Jamie Dimon said he should be reducing rates. I never saw Jamie Dimon say that. I wonder why he said that. But he really said it because he's right. But we have a guy that's just a stubborn ox who probably doesn't like your president, your favorite president. But they're going to be coming down. We'll be announcing somebody probably early next year for the new chairman.
Before we get to the top Fed chair candidates, let's talk about what just went down. Because the Fed just had a moment. The Fed injected $13.5 billion into the banking system overnight. This is one of the largest liquidity injections since COVID. And it's bigger than anything we saw during the dot-com bubble. Someone needed cash fast, but markets? Probably fine, just carry on. Yeah, sure, nothing to see here, just a fire hose of liquidity. Oh, and by the way, December rate cut odds, 90%. We're 7 days away from the FOMC meeting. So let's connect this. QT is ending. Liquidity injections are increasing. Rate cut odds are exploding. And Trump is now openly signaling who he wants running the Fed. That means one thing. The political era of monetary policy is here. But now, let's take a brief detour into the most serious, well-researched list of potential Fed chair candidates available on the internet today. Yeah, welcome to the official Simply Bitcoin handicapping of Trump's next Fed chair. Let's break down the contenders, shall we? First off, honorable mention, J.D. Vance, the backup option. Look, if Trump really wants someone who can do a job, any job, even if it's not a good job, J.D. Vance is his guy. All right, now the real list. Number 10, no one. Do we even need a Fed chair? We've tried someone, and look how that turned out. Number 9, Sam Bankman-Fried. I love this logic. He literally has bank in his name. What more do you want? He's also got prison time and felonies on his resume. Makes him like a top candidate. He's basically Christine Lagarde. Number 8, Kanye West. Why? Well, easy. This would lead to the most entertaining FOMC meetings in world history. Number 7, Tiffany Fong. Look, Elon offered to have a kid with her. That is more vetting than most presidential appointments get. Number 6, Barron Trump. Simple. Just look at him. Lisan Al-Gaib. Number 5, Scrooge McDuck. Honestly, the most qualified on this list so far. He understands hard money. He literally swims in his reserves. I'm also pretty sure McDuck is an Austrian economist. Number 4, AI Tesla bot. If Elon forgives Trump for making fun of him on Twitter, we might just get a robo-central banker. Number 3, Jerome Powell, but with a mustache. I mean, come on, because a mustache would increase his credibility more than any PhD could. Number 2, this one's a surprise. Eric Trump. Well, you know, we've tried economic geniuses before, maybe we try the opposite. Number 1, the Orange Man. Donald J. Trump. Let's be honest, if he legally could, he would appoint himself. We all know it. The interest rates will be the greatest interest rates you've ever seen. Immaculate. Nobody has seen rates like this before. Okay, well that was 5 minutes of our lives we're not getting back, because right after all this hours of research, we actually got the breaking news. Check it out.
I guess a potential Fed chair is here too. I don't know. Are we allowed to say that? Potential. He's a respected person, that I can tell you. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, well, that changes things. Trump is telling markets, here's the vibe, here's the direction, here's the liquidity profile, react accordingly. This isn't about the person. This is about narrative-driven monetary policy, a politically softened Fed, a more dovish, more cautious, more reactive central bank. And markets instantly moved. Why? Because Bitcoin, listen carefully, is the purest beneficiary of a politically re-anchored Fed. Lower rate ceilings? Bitcoin wins. Balance sheet stabilization? Bitcoin wins. Liquidity expansion? Bitcoin wins. Distrust in institutions? Bitcoin wins harder. Every macro signal right now is pointing in one direction. Bitcoin is becoming the global credibility anchor. When the Fed gets political, people migrate to money that cannot be politically influenced. That money is Bitcoin. And speaking of Bitcoin winning, let's get to this article. The title says JP Morgan, Vanguard, and Bank of America absorbed Bitcoin in 9 days. Absorbed. Captured? No, they didn't. Bitcoin just snatched them like Pokemon. They didn't capture Bitcoin. JP Morgan files leverage structured notes tied to IBIT. Translation, we fought Bitcoin, we lost, now we're selling Bitcoin leverage products for fees. Vanguard reverses anti-crypto stance. This is a firm that said Bitcoin was not appropriate. Bank of America tells 15,000 advisors they can recommend 1 to 4% Bitcoin allocations. 1 to 4%, that's the polite introduction. Wait until they figure out the Sharpe ratio. Meanwhile, while ETFs were bleeding, Abu Dhabi tripled its Bitcoin holdings. The poor buy high, sell low. The sovereigns buy dips for sport. ETF infrastructure complete. NASDAQ raised IBIT options limit 40x. This lets banks hedge enormous size, less volatility for pension. Less volatility unlocks pensions, insurers, and big wealth managers. MSCI is going after MicroStrategy. And here's the twist. While MSCI threatens to exclude strategy, JP Morgan is launching, wait for it, Bitcoin bonds. Bank of America is recommending Bitcoin. Vanguard is offering the ETFs. And JP Morgan says Bitcoin is a leading indicator for the entire U.S. market on live television.
You know, I think Bitcoin is one of several risk indicators that investors can look to. I find myself trying to pay attention to when I see inconsistencies. So when I see several weeks of rallying in gold and several weeks of pressure on Bitcoin, I think that's kind of interesting, whether it's suggesting that Bitcoin is not the risk-free asset that it's been pitched at over the last several years, whether it's investors are looking at the prospect of a steeper yield curve supporting gold. I think that there's certainly a lot that we can try to take out of that. If I shift my focus to the equity market, where I'm a little bit spending much more of my time, you know, it's certainly an interesting environment where you see leadership from interactive media names like, say, Alphabet, and pharmaceutical names like Johnson & Johnson. Like, one is risk off and one is perceived as risk on. And ultimately, I think it speaks to some of the confusion investors are attempting to navigate as we come into year end.
Retail runs away, institutions run in. Bitcoin did not get captured, it captured them. And Saylor? Kramer has some thoughts.
I would say that this man is not to be trifled with. Saylor will come on Squawk, he'll come on everywhere, he'll come on every show. It wouldn't shock me. He pops up at the White House for all I know. He will do whatever's necessary. He is the Malcolm X of Bitcoin, okay? Malcolm X, right? Yes. By any means necessary, he will defeat the shorts. Defeat the shorts.
We will see.
That's what his job is. I mean, when he gets up in the morning, he puts on whatever kind of men's warehouse thing he's got going. He comes in, he goes, I'm getting him today.
Yes.
I'm getting him today. And I got to tell you, he's good at that.
Oh, dear. Kramer, buddy, please do not reverse psyop us here. We can't afford you being bullish. All right, let's land this plane with the final boss.
Over the next 2, 3, 4 years, those numbers are going to go up. And I believe that at some point in the not too distant future, you won't even have income tax to pay because the money we're taking in is so great, it's so enormous that you're not going to have income tax to pay. Whether you get rid of it or just keep it around for fun or have it really low, much lower than it is now, but you won't be paying income tax. We've slashed $1 trillion in costly job-killing regulations, saving Americans an estimate.
Okay, if Trump pulls this off, this man goes down as the greatest president since Andrew Jackson. Terror-funded government, no income tax, stimulus on deck, rate cuts, QT is over, liquidity geyser inbound. This is literally the most bullish macro environment for Bitcoin in history. And Jack Mallers? Well, he's here to remind you what's coming next and why you might want to buy every dip. We're about to bring it home, but before we do, look at our likes.
3 or 4 times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Let's take a quick second for our sponsors who keep this show on the air over at the Bitcoin Way. If your wealth lives in their system, it's not yours, it's theirs. That's why we scream Bitcoin. That's why you self-custody. And that's why you call our friends over at the Bitcoin Way. They'll walk you through multi-sig, self-custody, privacy, how to run a node, and the tools that keep you sovereign when the fiat system pulls the plug. Don't wait till it's too late. Book a free 30-minute consult today using that link in the show notes. Need cash but don't want to sell your Bitcoin? Ledn is the global leader in Bitcoin-backed loans, issuing over $9 billion in loans since 2018, and they were the first to offer proof of reserves. With Ledn, you get custody loans, no credit checks, no monthly payments, and more. Visit learn.ledn.io/simply to learn more and get 25 basis points off your first loan.
Buy every dip. The United States cannot afford to have assets go down over a persistent time frame. The US stock market is a Ponzi retirement account for the United States. They need it to both store wealth for Americans and for Americans to monetize wealth where they earn tax receipts. If the US doesn't have a stock market that's up 10 to 15% a year, it is insolvent because it cannot afford the interest payments on its debt. So all dips should be bought. None of these dips scream Bitcoin's going to 10K. None of these dips are talking about cats. I'm allergic to cats. Literally, I am. You learn something new about me every single week. I am physically allergic to cats. I can't be around cats. So I know nothing about a dead cat and bouncing. I know nothing about it. This is all to do with global liquidity. The point is, we're in the middle of a liquidity crunch. Again, that's kind of been my consistent theme, is that today QT ended. So first of all, for all of you, QT ended today. Quantitative easing, QE, is very likely to resume in the near term. We're very likely to get rate cuts going forward. Trump, he said and communicated, I know exactly who I want as my Fed chair.
I know who I'm going to pick.
They're going to be allowed to use unlimited leverage for treasuries, create a lot of credit, create a lot of new money. We have 50-year mortgage, we have stimulus checks, we have midterms. I know I take a lot of shit for it. I think this cycle is 250K to $1 million.
QT just ended. Rate cuts next week. Banks are buying Bitcoin. Banks are offering Bitcoin products. Banks want to partner with the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. Jerome Powell is out in May. New Fed chairs pro-Bitcoin. Regulatory clarity coming. Strategic Bitcoin reserve coming. Bloomberg terminals lighting up orange. BlackRock capitulated. Vanguard capitulated. Bank of America capitulated. Pro-Bitcoin SEC, pro-Bitcoin Fed, pro-Bitcoin Treasury, pro-Bitcoin President. New Bitcoin derivatives, new Bitcoin on-ramps, sovereign wealth funds accumulating, JP Morgan accepting Bitcoin as collateral, JP Morgan launching Bitcoin bonds. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin isn't part of the system anymore. It is checkmating the system, and the system is just realizing it. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know what you think below. Oh, and don't forget to give us a pamp by sharing the Sound Money Gospel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Love you guys. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship,
you.